Hello, I'm Paladin. I'm going to talk to you guys about what gear I'm going for in Phase 3 in Blackwing Layer. This is mainly going to be pertaining to what gear I have now and what gear I'm going for in the near future. So, we're going to start off with explaining what gear I'm currently using for raiding. And this is, by the way, for Deep Ret. So this is your stereotypical Deep Ret build. So let's go. So first piece, we're going into Crown of Destruction. It's a 2% crit, 44 attack power, really good crown. It's going to last you for a while until AQ, so it's worth keeping. Next we have Ani Tooth Pendant. You have hit, you have crit. You definitely should be clearing Ani as much as you can until you get this neck. This is the only item in Onyxia that really that counts for you. So this is what you should be going for 100%. So my guild, just about everyone has theirs now, everyone besides like a couple mages. So it's just good. There's not a lot of soldiers in the game right now, prior to Phase 3, that are worth using as a Ret Paladin. So I'm just using Tier 1. It just has strength and int. There's nothing really else you can get from it. So it is what it is. I don't have Cape of the Black Baron either. So I'm using this. This is a nice substitute. It's a decent agi cloak. It's one of the highest agi ones you can get before Rag. So it's going to be really good. You put a little agi enchant and you're almost at 1% crit. So Ogre Forge Fabric. You know, it's the Poor Man Savage Glad Chain. You're sitting at 2% crit total with this. By the way, if you don't know, you're going to hear me say crit a lot in this video. Critical Strike is your #1 stat prio as a Ret Paladin doing DPS. And 20 agility equals 1 crit. So make sure you know that. Make sure you know that crit is your #1 stat, and agility means crit. So here we go into the next piece. Wrist Guards of True Flight, 19 agi, so that's almost 1% crit, and also gives you 1% hit. I'm mainly using it for a little bit of baby intellect, but it is what it is. You can also use Battleborn Arm Braces. These I used 110% prior. I actually accidentally vendored my enchanted ones, so it is what it is. So these do, you know, these are just as good as this. So, all right. Storm Gauntlets. Potentially Bis Forever. We hope not, but potentially it is. So it adds 3 lightning damage to all your melee attacks. This is the Discord tech of the Ret Paladins. This item has a chance to proc Vengeance. That 3 damage actually can proc Vengeance, which is really useful in some fights that aren't resistant to nature damage. This is going to be huge for you. Also, if you have the Kazakh neck piece, that also does the same thing. So they both can proc. So every 1 auto attack actually has 2 chances to proc Vengeance. It's nice to have. I was blessed with the powerful Onslaught Girdle. We had about 4 or 5 drop in a row, and I was given it. I was also the last one to get Onslaught Girdle in my guild, so, you know, it's nice. So there's a couple angry warriors there, but it is what it is. So really big. This is going to last you till AQ or Nax. So, and we'll come across that AQ conversation when we get there. So, really good belt. Gonna last you a long time. Just keep at it. Hopefully you get it right. So there's no other legs as well that really work for Rets. So just use what you can. Flamewalker leg plates, just strength. Boots of Avoidance, more agility. That means more crit. Painweaver's Band, crit. So you can also use Magni's Will. It's almost the exact same stats. So it's identical. Don Julio's Band. This is when you start getting a little tricky here. You get 1% hit, 1% crit, and 16 attack power. Really good. So it works, right? That 1% hit is the big point of this. So we also have Black Hand's Breath. It's 2% crit. Nothing else to say. And Hand of Justice, an extra chance to attack. Really useful. Also, to preface all of this, I do have my Dark Moon Fair deck Maelstrom. Just the Dark Moon Fair has yet to come. I didn't have it ready when the Dark Moon Fair came, so I've got it for the next one. Alright, so we're going to start at the top of the deck at Razor Gore. So, by the way, Tier 2 is complete Garbanzo League for Ret Paladins doing DPS. It's also bad for Holy Paladins. It's, you can maybe make the argument for a Prot Paladin, but Tier 2, Judgment's the coolest looking set, but it's a PvP Shakadin or Holy Reckoning or Ret Reckoning build. So, I wouldn't use it in a DPS fight. So you can maybe make the argument for maybe a spell damage Ret, but even then, I don't know. Personally, you can do a weird spell power build if you want, but this is my personal build. So we're going to start off with Untamed Blade. Really good weapon. I'm not sure it's as good as other people say. If you look up any vanilla WoW or classic WoW BIS list, you're going to see Untamed Blade as your BIS for the phase. And I sort of refute that. I don't believe it. I think that proc rates in classic aren't as high as they were on private servers. So I don't know if this is going to have as high a proc chance as people think. That 22 agility does mean 1% crit, but it's still, it's not as good as Ashkandi. I definitely think this is the second best weapon in Blackwing Layer. So it's a really good alternative if you can't get Ashkandi. I personally am using Bone Reaver's Edge. I forgot to say, or I did say. So, I would say it's about on the same level. I sort of want to go for it, but, that's, when it comes up, right? Helm of Villain's Rage, another item. If you don't have Crown of the Destruction or a Lionheart Helm, this is really good. 26 agility, that's, a crit in a bit. So, and a decent amount of strength, decent amount of stam. But I personally think if you're not a PvPer, don't get this item. 100%. If you're DPS Warrior and you're not a PvPer, don't get this item. And the same goes for Rets. If you're a Ret Paladin that doesn't do PvP, this item, if you take it away from a person that does do PvP, you're not a good person. Not that, but it's very rude. This is 100% a PvP item, but maybe after all the PvPers have it, then go for it, right? Broodlord, there's not much to talk about here, so we're going to go on to the next one. So this is Fire Maul is when it gets sweaty in the raid and in the loot. So we're going to talk about Drake Talon Pauldrons. Really big item. You're going to be fighting for this tooth and nail, though. This is a BIS item for warriors as well as you guys. So you're going to have Fury Warriors, Fury Prot, and Ret Paladins going for these shoulders. 20 agility, 20 strength, 1% dodge. That 20 agility is really big for you. It's one of the few shoulders in the game that are itemized properly for Ret Paladins. So sadly, it's also itemized for Fury Warriors. So there's a bit of competition there. So we also have Leg Guards of the Fallen Crusader. Leg Guards, decent amount of agility. That's 1% crit, strength, stam, int. Same thing goes here. You're going to be fighting with the warriors for it. So don't stress out when they get it over you. It's, sort of the Ret life, right? A weapon here, Drake Talon Cleaver. If you don't have a rag weapon, this is really good. I'm not sure if this is going to be better than Untamed Blade, but it's still a good weapon if you're not rocking a rag weapon. Replace your Obsidian Edge Blade with this. The only thing is you're going to have to add a bit more hit to your gear. So just be wary of that. Make sure you maintain that above 6% hit chance, and then you'll be fine. So on to Ebon Rock. So Ebon Rock, you have the shoulders again. You have the axe again. But you also have one more thing. Drake Fang Talisman. I can't preface this enough. Don't take this away from a rogue or a bear tank if you're doing that, or a warrior. Don't take this away from anyone, please. It's good for you, but it's not good enough to take it away. So it's way better for every class. Do not go for this 110%. Alright, so on to the next thing here. There's not really much to talk about. Maybe the legs, right? The legs would be okay. 17 agility, decent agi, and decent int with some fire resist. It couldn't hurt, but I don't think it's worth taking. Maybe take it for the fire resist, but if no one else wants it, I guess, but don't use a roll off spec on this or something. There's also this hammer. So this hammer's 31 strength, 22 stam, 20 intellect, and 17 spirit. It's got a decent range, but it's one of those where I would put it on the same league as Obsidian Edgeblade, where it's sort of garbanzo. It's actually worse. I would say it's the worst weapon in Blackwing Lair. But, you know, if you're rocking a dungeon weapon, if you're still using Demon Shear, yeah, replace it. But besides that, not really. There's also Circle of Applied Force. If you're not using Magni's Will, I mean, if you're using Magni's Will, this could be this could potentially replace Painweaver's Band, but I wouldn't say it's a big upgrade. It's not your best, you know. So take it if they give it to you, but otherwise, it's not like a huge upgrade. Yeah. So Chromagus. So this is the biggest item I think from everyone besides Neff, and it's Chromatic Boots. So 20 strength, 20 agi, 19 stam, and 1% hit. That 1% hit is huge. You're starting to get a bit hit starved, so this is going to become more and more prevalent as you go on. So these boots are really big for you. Try to go for them as hard as you can. You are going to fight everyone tooth and nail for this. But hey, you know, so it is what it is, right? So it's just that hit. You can really fight for it. Your Fury Prot Warriors are going to want it. Your Fury Warriors are going to want it. So just, you know, go for it. So you have Ashkandi, 100%. My opinion, your Abyss. People have said that it does more DPS than Hand of Rag. Let's mouse over the stats, by the way. So 229 to 344, decent weapon speed, 33 stam, and 86 attack power. So really, 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 really huge for you. So I would go for this 110%. This is my personal Ashkandi is Abyss Tilnax, in my opinion. Maybe make the argument for like that two-handed axe from Cthulhu, but this is a really big item for you. Another item you might want to think about is Therizine's Link. If you're still rocking, if you don't have Onslaught Girdle, this might be good for you. Even for warriors that don't have Onslaught Girdle, this might be good for you. It has crit chance, attack power, and it even has a little int that couldn't hurt, right? Like a little bit more mana couldn't hurt. So it's a decent belt. You know, it's not Onslaught Girdle, but it's, you know, it's, I would say, second best for you. Okay, go on to the next item. Archimoto's Ring of Reckoning. I butchered that name. So 14 agility, 28 stam, really good. So I would say it's a PvP item over anything. So if, you know, you're a big PvPer, go for it. I might do that a little bit, but you know, I wouldn't say it's huge, right? Next is Nefarian's Head. This is the biggest item for the rings that I think that comes from Blackwing Lair. So you have Master Dragon Slayer's Ring. So it gives you 14 stam, 48 attack power, and that 1% hit is huge. If you're not rocking a Band of Akira, this is going to be really big for you. It's another ring that gives more hit. So this is really going to help get more gear out, right? So Master Dragon Slayer's Ring, really big. So we're going to go to the trash real quick. Cloak of Draconic Might. My opinion, it's second best for Ret. You should be going for Cloak of the Shrouded Mists. Cloak of the Shrouded Mists from Rag. Huge item. Go for that instead. But, you know, this is a good alternative and maybe even better potentially, but I'm going for the Cloak personally. We also have Draconic Avenger. Did we go with that? No, it's not. It looks identical. That's why it threw me off for a second. I'm sorry. Draconic Avenger. So it's not that good. I think it might be one of the worst weapons in the game that comes from a raid. So low damage. It's a bit, you know, it's slow for the damage it does, I think. Decent amount of strength, decent amount of stam, and 2% chance to parry. Maybe a PvP weapon, but I would say this is like an off spec to, like, you know, someone who maybe wants to try a two-handed weapon. I wouldn't go for this 100%. And Draconic Maul. So this is actually not a bad hammer for you. I would say this is pretty good. So it's got 2% chance to crit, 27 strength, and a decent weapon scaling, right? 187 and 282. So it's not bad. I would 100%, like, if I was rocking Obsidian Edge Blade, I would take this hammer 100% without even thinking. That 27 strength equals 52, 54 attack power. I'm sorry, mental math, right? So every strength is 2 attack power. So really big. Like, it's actually good. Actually good. So, you know, don't kill yourself if you're rocking this, you know. People might smirk at you, but it's actually like, you know, you can clobber some people with this. Yeah, so overall, those are the items I'm going to be going for in Blackwing Lair. I think this is personalized for me, right? But I'm going to put a link in the description where you guys can go see my gear planner and see what I'm thinking. Leave a comment saying, you know, if you guys have any quirks or questions about it. I also stream on Twitch. I normally stream pretty often. Check my Twitter. I'm going to put my Twitter down there too. I post when I stream. The only day I mainly don't stream is Tuesday. I stream about every other day besides Tuesday. So, yeah, definitely check me out and have yourself a great day.